अच्छा, दीपक सबका कनेक्ट है, okay. This is the basic interface of ToonBoom Harmony, and all the basic information, basic uh, panels are there. Like this is the tool panel, and this is the tools option bar, and then we have this is the tools option bar. Actually, by default we have selected the selection tool, and when you select different tool, tools option bar get changed accordingly. And then we have color palettes here, and then we have different this is both vector and raster software. And then we have the our timeline here, and basic playback in playback bar here. We can add create keyframe from here, add different type of smooth or linear interpolation from here, and we're going to look at all these things later on. And then we have library, where we can store multiple number of drawings, like we do in OpenToons. We create multiple number of drawings in level strip, and we also have a library there which is called scene-cast. This is basically the same thing. When you make multiple number of drawing of a single column, in this case single layer, all this information gets stored here, and from here we can actually see all the different drawings. Then we have layer properties, and this is basically the x, y and z values. And then we have the X sheet view here also. X sheet view is here, I would say that a little bit better than ToonBoom, because you can draw different things. You can take your like you can make note, you can create your laddering here. And let's start from the basic selection tool. Okay, at first we have to create a layer. Just give me 1 minute. So at first we have to create a new layer, and to do that we have the shortcut is probably Control R. Yes, the Control R to add a drawing layer. And either we can choose the vector or raster. And in ToonBoom we have this thing which is called line art and color art. That means there will be two paper overlays, and this is the thing, one for the lines and one for the fill colors. I don't usually use this kind of separate things, and you can add multiple number of layers also for highlights and for shadows, all these things. So these are basically a little bit advanced thing. I basically use either the line and the fill in same layer, or in completely different layers. If I need to render them differently, I use different layers. But that option is there. To create a new layer, actually there is already a basic default layer created. So let me. Okay. It is 3D. You can move all the element in 3 dimensional, like OpenToon also you can do that. So to create a new layer, either press the shortcut Control R, or from this icon you can add or delete layer from here. You can add a drawing layer. This is a shortcut for drawing layer directly. So actually you can create a multiple number of things, like bone, when you are going to create rigged animation, or camera, or drawing, or other things. I haven't used all these things. So you can create a peg also, and you can see that you have shortcut for drawing layers and the peg layer. And from here, this is the shortcut for drawing layer, and this is the shortcut for a peg layer, I guess. Yes, a peg. So by default we have this drawing layer. You can change the name by double clicking here, very similar to Adobe products. And then we can create here and create another one. Let's say this one for line. So we can just hit enter, and by By hitting enter we actually use this option add, or else what you have to do is add and close. Then it creates a layer and closes it, and you can see it automatically takes the name padding here, like /1 /2, that kind of thing. So it is a little bit convenient. And then we have this basic option, which is the view button, and then a very useful option here that each and every animation software should have, which is the solo button. Even After Effects don't have this button. Like right now we only have one layer, so solo it knows is not working. I am going to show you all this thing when we have multiple layers. Then we can turn on and off which button, which layer we want to see for the onion skin. In OpenToon we had this limitation, we can only see the onion skin option for the layer that we have selected, and we cannot see the entire onion skin information of the entire composition. But here we can choose which layer to turn on or off for the onion skin. Then we can lock the layer, and then we can color code the layer. Actually, if you double click on it, then we can choose any color and we can assign it to it. Okay, then this is actually very convenient to work with when we have like tens and 20, 30, that kind of multiple number of layers. Then it's very easy to distinguish. Let's say few you are going to color code few layers for the hands, for the left hand, for the right hands. You can color code them separately. Then in the playback option we have this play forward, then this option render and play, and then we have the loop option. You can always turn this option on or off. And then we have with sound or without sound. This is basically this scrubbing. When you are scrubbing, you want to hear the sound or not. This is basically self-explanatory thing. Then you can actually this page turn on, and this kind of this is for the frame. Yes, you can by selecting with pen tab you can actually scrub through the different pages. And then start and stop, you can choose from here where to start, your animation and where to start. Let's say I want to start from here, and I will just click on the start button. Then you can see this little black bar here comes here. That means whenever I'm going to play the entire thing, you can do the same thing from here also, like this. Then only this portion is going to be under our playback section. So that we have this same option we used to have in OpenToons also. So this is the thing, and from here you can actually create an empty drawing like this, or we have the shortcut for it. Basically, like OpenToon also, you can just start creating a drawing, and it will automatically going to create a drawing for you. By the way, I'm in the camera mode. Maybe you are going to choose the drawing mode for drawings, because the difference between drawing mode and camera mode is basically this thing. Let me show you in OpenToon, because you have earlier worked in OpenToon, so it will be very easier for you to understand. Like if you if you just go to any cell here, and if you start drawing with the brush tool, and if you start drawing, I'm using a, actually I should use a pen tab because I'm going to use the brush tool. So if you start drawing, then it automatically creates a column for us with a level strip. 1 minute. So it creates a new new layer, and by default it gives a auto generated name, which is A, B, C, D, and then C, G, C, whatever it is. But we have this problem in OpenToons that these columns, these layers, actually these drawing files created automatically in the drawing folder, and if you you cannot change them later on, and that creates a major problem. Like you can change it from here, but in the drawing folder you have that file. If you anytime by mistake you replace it or do any kind of other thing, then it gets made, the entire project file get messed up. We don't have that problem here uh, in ToonBoom, because it creates a separate file for the entire project, and each and every time, like you have the sandbox, it creates, whenever you save a project file in any directory in your computer, it creates a separate entire separate directory for it. So the drawings we are using in this project file, it will be saved under that directory particularly, or the color palettes we are using for this project, that will be saved for that particular directory only. So it will never get messed up with another project. So that is a very good thing in ToonBoom. uh, OpenToon have done so much thing without though it is a free software, so these basic things should be there. I think in later version it will be upgraded. So I'm I was talking about what is the difference between camera and drawing, and that is basically this thing. This is when you draw in this X sheet view. I have actually turned off all this camera box and light table, all these options. This is basically something like this, and when you go to the, this is basically the camera view, and you see the camera region here. Whatever you do, you have to do under this thing. And when you select the level strip and go to the level view, you go to the drawing mode. Here you don't need a background. If you want a background color, you can add it. You don't have any boundary here, and you can create any sort of any type of drawing, and that thing gets updated here. And obviously only the portion which is under the camera boundary, that is going to be shown. Then again we can change the camera shape and all these things. So this is basically the difference between the camera view and the drawing view. Also we have separate colors, default colors for that, and we can change that. This is basically nothing but a transparent background. So what we see here, white color, this is not a white color. This is a good thing that ToonBoom have done. By default it have given some kind of grayish color, which is very soothing for the eye. White and black is very contrast to work with. So these colors can be changed from the properties. And then we have the perspective view, which is basically the 3D view. You can create your drawing, and I don't know from which tool you can rotate it. I will show you this thing. So once this thing, we are going to use this thing, but from here you can actually hopefully, I don't know, actually rotate the entire view. So these are the two view we are mostly going to use, because we are going to do our compositing in compositing software, not here. So we are not going to be needed this perspective view quite a lot. So actually let's start with how to create a new cell. So whatever we are going to draw, it will be saved and named this drawing file in that particular drawing folder. So either we can create right away, we can just start drawing, or we can create a new drawing from here. And you can say it's saying one, so that means this particular layer contains only one drawing. So maybe I'll create this round shape, and we are not seeing any thickness. I have to increase the maximum width, and so let's say this is a round shape, and the render view. Okay. No, it's not because of the pencil size. I have turned on any kind of mode, because of which, yes, this one. It was only showing me the outlines. This is for, when you are going to make a rough animation, and over that you want to create a detailed animation, you can turn on this thing. it was because of that. So let's select the selection tool, okay, we need to delete it. So let's say this is the fast list, let's say this is the fast drawing, and we need to create another drawing, or we need to extend or give it a hold to extend this drawing. To add exposure, what you have to do is you have to go to that particular drawing uh, and hit F5, which is very similar to flash. Okay, and this drawing is going to be extended for this the amount of duration, and you can select the multiple, you can just select and drag like this and select this region, and you can hit delete to delete it, or if you need to extend it, you can just, okay, it is creating a new drawing. You can just go there and press F5 and it will extend like this. Okay, I'm going to come to this thing, the enter the layer, how you can create multiple number of drawings on it. By the way, to add multiple number of a second drawing, all you have to do, you can click here and it will create a separate drawing for you, or you can go to a separate frame and you can create a new drawing. You can see that you have 3 drawings. You can change it from here also, like which one you want to use for this particular frame, and we have other options also, like you can do it from X sheet also. We are going to see all these things later on, but at first let's explore the basic options, basic tools like brush tool and selection tool. Okay, so this is a this is the brush tool, and for brush tool, what are the, we have much more option here in ToonBoom than we had in OpenToons. So the very basic options you get in the tools option bar is the maximum size and smoothness. Then you have different type of brush presets. Obviously you can choose any of them and you can draw like this. And the amazing thing is these are all vector brushes, but it looks like raster brushes, and you can use it for maybe your rough animation, or maybe you want this kind of textured look, and you can actually manipulate all the different parameters and create your own brush preset. So I'm going to see that actually right now. So let's select the basic brush and let's create a brush stroke. So I'm going to delete whatever thing I have created, delete this thing too, and let's create a brush stroke with different pressure, like from light to hard pressure. So what is going to, we are not seeing a lot of difference here, not a lot of thick and thin. So to add that, there is this arrow button. So if we go there, we get more option for our brushes, and from here we can see that we have a minimum size also. Here the minimum size is 40% of the maximum size, so we can make it 0. Then we are going to get this kind of sharp edges, and we can actually expand the maximum size, and now we are going to get this kind of thick and thin variation. And then we have the smoothness. This is basically this option, and you can crank it up like this. Then we are always going to get smooth lines. You can make even smoother. Okay, and then we have the smooth. After the smoothness, we have this option which is called contour smoothing, and I'm coming to that. And after that, we have different type of brush tips. We can use this kind of squared brush tips, or this kind of tilted brush tips for, if let's say for calligraphy, or you need this kind of stroke. So what is the difference between this smoothing and the contour smoothing? Actually what happens, the different last experience that you had with vector brushes, and that was like with brush tool you create a line and then you use a fill color to get a filled area. Here it's a little bit advanced, and I would say it's a little bit convenient to work with. With brush tool you don't really create a outline or a line. Basically you create a region with a fill color. So that means if you select this brush, actually this stroke, you can see there is an outline here, and this is actually a fill area. The difference between this thing is, so if you select the pencil tool and with all the thick and thins we have, so if you create a stroke like this, the difference is you can get the similar stroke, but the difference is if you select it, you can see it's actually quite similar to open toons. We have a middle line with different variation of thick and thin, and here when we are using a brush stroke, we have a outline, and under that we have a fill area. So this is a difference. Now I'm coming to the smooth contour option. Now if we select this, this tool is basically contour editor tool. This is basically this tool here, which is I'm going to turn off the background color. The control, which is the control point editor tool. Which one is it? This is this one. Like the control point editor tool we have, this tool is basically this tool, and if you select the line, you can see that we have control points for the outer region, and we can change it. And obviously for say shape morphing shape in between animation, you can actually make this kind of changes, and you are going to get the animation. And for the pencil line, you can see that we have this control point editor, very similar to open tool, and the line is actually in the middle of the brush stroke. So when we go back to the brush tool again, and when we decrease the amount of contour smoothing and select the brush tool and create a brush stroke with it, let's actually select the round brush, the default one, and create a brush stroke with it. And when we select the control point editor tool and we select it, we will see that multiple number of control points. So let's go to a brush tool and let's crank it down to 0 maybe, and let's create a brush stroke again. And actually the smoothness I have to crank it down. So let's create a brush stroke again, and you will see that we have multiple number of control points. So it tries to create a accurate result, and for that it uses multiple number of control points. So last time we had already the smoothness was quite high, so the brush stroke was not that much jagged, sharp. So if you crank it up like this, if you use a higher value, then in this brush stroke we are not going to get that much of control points. So this is basically this option, just to let you know. After that we have, let's undo all this thing. After that we have the paper texture. So we can actually mix, we can actually use different type of textures in our brush, and this option, it says that I think you can actually, okay, I have to turn it on at first, and you can actually add different textures from from any this kind of, I don't know why, TGA file. So that's basically a image file, or you can actually add pre-made brush textures from the add option. So you can do that, but the basic options are really good. I haven't really tried to add different textures like my own texture. So these options are very good, and you can actually crank down the hardness, and let's actually use a thinner brush stroke, and you can see the thick and thin is really good. So I'm going to crank down the smoothness again, and you can see the thick and thin is really good, and you can use this kind of different styles and different textures. and you can change the maximum opacity and the minimum opacity. So if you crank up the minimum opacity, it will be hard, and if it is down, it will be a soft stroke. And you can just try different brush strokes. Again, you can use it for, let's say you want that kind of rough animation look in your final animation, or for only for the rough animation, or you have created your own personal line um, to do the entire animation. And remember, we are not here talking about the raster lines, we are working with a vector line, okay, in a vector layer. So that means these shapes can be morphed, these shapes can be the path can be changed. You can use it for blend shape animation, or what is it called, the auto in between tools that we can use here. So this is basically why this software is very good, very powerful. So this is a raster tool, but this is a vector tool, but it's giving us very wide variety of result. So you can explore all these brushes, and I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm just going to create some thing, and if we do that, and let's go to control point editor tool again, and if you select that, then you can see actually we have this. Sorry, this is how you select it, and now we can actually change the brush stroke. Unfortunately, it's not updating, but you can actually erase this thing. But if you create a pencil line by using the pencil tool, actually you can actually convert a brush stroke to a pencil line and a pencil line to a brush stroke. That option is there. But if you're starting working with a pencil tool, then you have all these different type of pencil lines also. Like if you have a smaller brush size, then you can actually get these brushes. And like we have in Illustrator, and you can actually modify and create your new brush, and this option is also there in OpenToons. You can actually modify and create your yes. And do you guys remember that I have shown you, like from here actually you can create a new brush from here. Like these vector of brushes are there, but you can create your own brush. Like this file, I can actually save it as a vector brush. So do check out that tutorial also if you need it. And I sorry. Okay. So you can create these brushes, and one thing you can see with the contour point editor tool, you can actually select this brush and move it whenever you need it. Okay, so you can modify it. Okay, maybe for animation, maybe for correcting your drawing. So and anytime let's say you have created this is actually a brush stroke. That means we don't have any what is it called, line, this kind of a what is the exact word, this kind of a line which actually we only have a fill, we don't have a line, right? So we can actually change the brush stroke in a line. The option is, like I'm using actually the selection tool. I have selected the brush stroke, and there will be this option. So yes, this one, I think this, no, this is no, create card from the no, this is not the option, this is not the option, this one I guess. No, I'm coming to all these options, but this option is there, apply multiple drawing, that option is there. if you select this line, and we can actually change it to, yes, reverse the pencil thickness. Yes, if you select this, oh, I've got it. Why it didn't happen? So let's say it's a pencil line, and you want to make a brush stroke from it. So you have to just click on this option, and it will become a brush stroke actually. What kind of brush stroke is it? Reverse. Oh, okay, this is the pencil thickness option. Pencil to brush. You can create a brush stroke from here, and the same thing you can do with it, but this line have this texture in it, so that's why it didn't happen. If you select this option again, this it's not turned on, but it happens for few files, few brush strokes. I have to check it why it is not happening for this one. So you can actually convert this pencil brush to pencil line, brush to pencil line, and pencil line to brush if you need it. There will be very few cases when you are going to need it. Anyway, so let's move on. So this is basically vector brushes in OpenToons. I'm sorry, in ToonBoom. And let's explore what the other options are. Like you have this this option is very useful. So let's select all these drawings, and let's delete it, and I'm going to create a new brush stroke with higher thickness. I'm not going to use this one. So very basic brush with maximum number of thickness. So I'm going to make this one 0, minimum size 0. And if you turn on this option, which is called the draw behind tool, let's say you have made a outline, and you want to, let's say you want to apply another color, let's say this red color, and let's make a desaturated red color actually, darker one, HLS. Let's make a desaturated red color. So I want to create a new brush stroke, not really a fill, but a new brush stroke, and I don't want to paint over the outlines, and for that we have this option, which is called the draw behind tool. If you turn it on and if you paint it now, then what is going to happen is everything is going to go under the, what if we fill? Yes, the fill you can apply it like this. So select the different color and fill. But it happens, but you are going to see that kind of sharp edges. It's not going to blend with it. So that's why it's like you want to use that kind of stylization look, you can use it, but you're not going to add a fill. For that you actually convert the line layer to a fill layer, and then in the fill layer you can actually apply that fill color. Anyway, so this is if you have turned on the draw behind, it may be a fill color, it may not be a fill color, it can be different type of outlines, and you want to draw behind this line, you can do that. And after that we have this option which is called Repaint Brushes, which is basically the opposite of it. So let's say that you have a line and you want to create a line actually just over it. So if you turn on this option, and you can see automatically this option get turns off, because you can actually do this. Okay, so basically the opposite thing. Line will be only this much means if we select the control points. Okay, very good question. So if we do the same thing again, and then if we select the control point editor tool, and then you can see that you have actually a group type of thing where you have different shapes, and for the each and every different shapes you have different outlines. Okay, and actually you have got this kind of small shapes here, so you can select each and every one of them and slice them. Ctrl Z कर देता हूँ पहले. And then let's go to the brush tool, and we have this option called automatically create color art to line art. Automatically create color art, that means we are actually using the line art, okay, line art layer, and which means actually OpenToon don't want us to fill the to use a fill color in the line art layer. I mean, yes, we are using this layer which is called a drawing, but under this layer we have these two underlay and overlay layers, which is the first one is the line art and the second one is the color art. In the color art, OpenToon wants us to do the color filling, but as I've told you, we can always do that in a separate layer, so that's not a issue. Or we can do it in on the same layer also, like we do in OpenToon or other software. So so what is the difference? If you turn on this option, actually what happens is if we create a simple shape, and if you go to this option, the color art layer, you can see that we have this vector line. That means we can actually fill the color from here, actually here. So actually we haven't touched ऐसा करना पड़ेगा, and then we can fill it. So I mean, if you want to use this kind of method, then you can use that option, which will automatically create color art from line art. After that we have auto flatten. This option is very useful. Let's say you have created this this line, and I don't know which option I have turned on, but it is showing me all the outlines automatically. So yes, so by if you the auto flatten option is turned on, no, then why is it okay? Yes. So right now what happened is we have this separate strokes, then we can actually select and move, and if you turn on the auto flatten option, let's say in selection mode we also have that. So if you select all of them, and if we select this option, then what is going to happen? It's going to create a simple shape with the selected brush strokes. So you can see that it have become, all the shapes have become a single shape. Okay, and in the brush tool, I'm going to show it to you again. So if you in the brush tool, if you turn on that option before you are creating the brush strokes, so then what is going to happen? Whatever you draw, it is going to create a single shape. If different, it doesn't matter. You can let's say with different colors, right? So let's explore that. It's actually cutting the thing. Okay, I'm in the color art mode. So it is actually cutting the thing. Actually, if we go there in the selection mode, what is actually happening? I don't know. Okay, I have drawn the entire thing in the color mode. So let's go back, and let's go to the brush tool, and this auto flatten mode is turned on. So I'm going to create something like this, and if we select it, what is going to happen? It's going to cut the entire thing. So the auto flatten is not going to work if you have different type of colors. You have to have the similar type of colors. Let's say the black color, and auto flatten is turned on, and if we do this, then you can see you have a flat object or flat shape. After that we have this option which is called respect protected colors. This option I haven't used it, but I know what it does. Let's say that you have a color which is assigned for the outlines and you never want to paint over it, and from here actually you have to turn on the protective color option. and then we have this same option in OpenToons also, and then this color will never get replaced with any other thing. So this is basic brush options. After that we have selection tool, and let's create a shape actually, like the geometry tool we have here, uh, this shape tool, and if you press here, press and hold, then we get this different type of geometry shapes. Let's create a geometry shape, and I'm going to change it to a default this thing pencil, and I'm going to select the selection tool, and if you select the shape, and you can see that actually what are the options that you can change. Actually, as it is a pencil tool that we have used, so in the tool properties we have this option where we can actually change the thickness, maximum thickness of the pencil after we have created the brush stroke or the pencil stroke. And then we have it will actually be different if you create a brush tool. You have selected the brush tool, then you don't have these options. When you select this pencil stroke, you get these options. So the basic options here, the selection mode, either you can use the marquee mode or the lasso mode. The good thing about this in ToonBoom, you can actually just create a single line like this, and if you touch it, it will be selected. Okay? So it's very easy to select an object. So uske baad then we have this snap to contour. These are basically alignment tools. So if you turn on this option, and if you select this layer and move it, it will automatically, if you select this layer and let's say this one and move it, it will always snap on the contour of different layers. Let's use this one actually, some thickness, and it will always snap to the edges. So let's turn on all of them, and you can see that it is snapping in the edges, it is snapping in the corners. So these are basically the alignment tools. Then what is this thing? This is the select by color option, and this option is also there in OpenToons. Like you can actually, if you have multiple number of if you are using multiple number of colors in your drawing, so you can actually, let's say for your outline you have a different kind of color that you have assigned, and you want to move all the lines that you have applied that color. So if you turn on this option, you select it, you can see that all these things have been selected, and you can move it like this, or if you want to select this thing, you can move it like this. Okay, this option is called select by color. Then we have a permanent selection. I know, let's check what is it. Okay, it creates this kind of, I know what is it. And after that apply to multiple drawing is basically when you have multiple drawing in your column. Let's say we going to create the same thing, 1 2 3. You have multiple drawing in your layer, and if you turn on this option, and let's say this is a line drawing of your character, you want to move the entire character towards the left side of the screen. And what you have to do, if you turn on this option, which is called the apply to multiple drawings, if you turn on the options and if you select the entire thing, and if you move them towards left, then the entire, okay, it didn't happen, should do that. Let's select all these things, you select it and move it. Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but that tool is for that thing. So I haven't, as I have told you earlier, I haven't explored ToonBoom that much, but that option is for that. So the after that we have apply liner to color art, that option I have shown you, and then this link option I don't know. After that, let's come to, this is the basic orientation tool. We can actually, after creating the brush stroke, this one is very helpful. After creating the brush stroke, actually auto flatten is turned on. After creating the brush stroke, you can always, just by clicking like this, you can flip the entire thing. You can change the anchor point to any position you want, and then you can flip it. Okay, that didn't work. You can flip it vertically and horizontally, and you can clockwise or counterclockwise 90 degree. Then we have this option, the smooth. After you have created the brush stroke, let's say I have created this brush stroke with less smoothness, or maybe not with less smoothness, we want much more smoothness on the brush stroke. So you can see in the if you select the control point area, we have that quite a bit of control points here. If you select the brush stroke after creating the entire drawing, you can just click on this option and it will going to smoothen your the brush stroke. Okay, if you continuously do that, it's going to become much more smoother. You can see how the edges are getting smoother. These edges are the sharp edges, these are not, so that's why. So you can do that. After that, you have the same thing, the flatten option. So let's select these two brush strokes and turn on flatten, and it is going to become a same stroke. Then the orientation, then this option, which is the create color art from the liner that I have told you earlier, and then we have this option. This option is very helpful. Let's say we have created let's create a simple stick figure. So maybe this is the head, and let's say you have created the entire figure and you want separate layers for each and every drawing, because maybe you want a rigged character, and for that you want separate body parts to be in separate layers. So for that, if you select this entire thing, and if you click on this option, then what is going to happen, it will automatically create separate drawings for each and every separate stroke. But the problem is here, like, it is actually creating a separate drawing for a separate stroke. You might have multiple number of strokes, so be careful before using it. Like, so be very careful. So after that, we have this option called store color gradient, and when we are going to use the gradient tool, we are going to see that. Then we have these basic options where we can manually use very precise values to move a particular thing to particular direction. Scroll. Oh, the scrolling thing, let's see. You cannot select here. Yeah, from here you can do that. Acha, so this is basically the brush tool, and in the control point editor tool, actually, let's zoom in. Unfortunately, we don't really break. Let's finish the demonstration and then you take a break. After that, you are going to do some practice on it. Maybe 5 minutes more, 5 to 10 minutes more. So if you select this this control editor tool, and let's select this drawing actually, and if you select this control point, then the same vector brush options are applied to it. Like, you can actually, by holding control, you can actually break the control handles, and then by holding alt on this option, you can actually make the control handles disappear and make it a sharp edge. Or again, you can select the hold the alt and click to get the handles. So I think I have to click and drag, and this is it. Basically, you can move a separate handles like this. So these options you already know. And for the polyline tool, you have the polyline tool here also. You can create lines like this, and after just hit, you don't have to hit enter, but yes, you just select the selection tool and you can actually apply different type of brush strokes, pencil strokes, and you can actually apply different pencil strokes, and you can apply thickness. Okay, so this is basically it, and I would say that let's explore that. This is very basic thing. I mean that we have seen today. Like you can create multiple number of drawings that in a drawing layer, and the brush stroke and the pencil stroke. So this is very. You can start your basic animation right now. New library in the same column if you're not drawing. Hmm. It creates it creates a new drawing, right? It creates a new level or it creates a new drawing. Huh. Huh. Here also no, for that that thing is not going to if that the thing is, if you are not selecting anything and if you do this, it is going to add the drawing in the existing layer. If it's going to add the this stroke in the existing layer, it is not going to create a new layer. Here if you want to create a new layer, you have to select this option and add a layer, and then you can actually like I haven't selected anything. Okay. So it is actually adding the stroke in the existing column in 6. Then it actually creates a different drawing, actually like different level strip. Now that will not happen here. What is going to happen, it's going to create another drawing of in the existing layer. So it is going to, yes, that you can see that the timeline get extended, but it's a different drawing. The timeline they get extended. We have a library. Let's say like at least 1 2 3 things. This is very easy to understand. It's 1, then 2, then 3 in the 6, actually showing it's the 6th drawing. I will show you why this number is not in the order. So let's say 4 and 5. So I'm actually coming to that later on. If you go to the library, you can see that we have different instances, different drawings like this. So in this frame, actually, let's say in this 7th frame, you want to add this drawing, it will be changed here. Jump to 10th frame, then this last frame is going to be extended there, but it is not going to create another drawing layer like in OpenToons. Yes. Okay. So that's it. That's a very basic thing here, and let's explore the very basics of render. You have to turn it on from here, and by the way, the default color is black. I think you can change it from preference. That option should be in preference, and this black color is not basically black. Actually, it is the alpha view, and this black color is actually the unmatted thing. And you can turn on the this option from here, onion skin, and you can change extend the handle from here to add multiple number of forward and backward frames. Unfortunately, I don't think this option which we have in OpenToons, this option is not there, which is the hold on a particular drawing option. Let's say we have multiple number of drawings, here, and we always want to see the first drawing, and we can just do this thing here, not here. In the left side, we can actually turn on a particular drawing, and that particular drawing will always be turned on. And that option I haven't yet found in ToonBoom. Okay, but these very basic things happens here, like you can add multiple forward and backward frames by extending these lines. I don't know, this option can be there, like these options actually you can turn on keyframes actually you can turn on, like this frame. I am going to assign this frame as it's a keyframe, so you can do that actually by, if you click on this option, you can see that this drawing have become a keyframe. I can actually just zoom in this in the timeline, which is a very basic thing that we cannot do in OpenToon. So I have assigned this particular drawing as a key drawing, so it's become red. And let's turn on this option. So after doing this, let's turn on. No, it's not happening. I have tried it quite a few times. So I just want to turn on the onion skin for this option, this drawing, but that option is not working. I don't know. Anyway, so this is the very basic. No, this is basically I am zooming in and out. Okay, this is a zoom in and out option. So this is very basic of OpenToon, ToonBoom. Sorry. So that's it for today. Okay. Which image file?